Hey, this is Sarah from North 40 Outfitters, and today we're going to compare some of our best tumblers that we sell. So the first ones we have are kind of the most recognizable. We have Stanley, Yeti, and then our new brand Outdoor Revival. These two are 40 ounces and this is a 42 ounce, so the Yeti is slightly bigger than the other two. That's the first thing you can notice off the bat. One thing that all of our testers immediately noticed was that the handles are slightly different. The Stanley has some rubber grips on the handles, which is nice. The Yeti is a little bit narrower, so if you have bigger hands, if you hold it like this, it might not be a problem, but some of us were doing this, so we noticed that it's a little bit more of a squeeze. And then the Outdoor Revival kind of has a wider handle, but not as long. So it was a good grip. This one is also hand wash only. These two are dishwasher safe. A couple differences in just the bottoms. This one has a rubber bottom, so it has a stop to it, whereas the Yeti and the Stanley both have just the stainless steel bottoms, so they do slide. All of them fit in cup holders, so they're pretty similar in that way. Double wall vacuum insulation, and the straws all come out on all of them. But there are some differences in the top, so you can see already the Stanley, the straw's a bit harder to pull in and out, whereas these two, it's pretty easy. One other thing to mention is the price of these. So the Yeti and Stanley both have around the same price. The Yeti I think is a little bit more expensive as of when we shot this video, and the Outdoor Revival definitely comes in third as a much more affordable tumbler. The tests that we're going to be performing on these, we're going to have a hot test, a cold test, a drop test, and then of course the leak test. Obviously we anticipate them all to do pretty similar, but we'll see what happens. So we've gotten the results back from our tumbler tests, and the first one that we did was the hot test. So Stanley definitely kept the drinks warm the longest, but the other two were pretty close. So pretty happy with all of those results. One thing on the hot test is that Yeti did say that they do not recommend this lid be used with hot water. We did use it for the sake of the fairness of the test because they all have straws, but we think with the mag slider lid, this probably would have lasted longer on the hot test. So just a note there that Yeti does not recommend this lid for hot water or hot drinks. The cold test, we filled them up with ice and then water. The water stayed the same temperature throughout the whole day, throughout the whole test. So we measured instead how much ice was lost. Stanley lost the least amount of ice, and Yeti and Outdoor Revival were pretty close together, but Yeti did come in second. The drop test was definitely the most interesting test that we did. So we dropped them from different angles. So first we dropped them so the bottom hit first, and then we turned them so it would land on its side, and then we turned them again so it would land on the handle part. As you can see, Stanley actually lost the handle completely. Stanley does have a lifetime warranty, so you can take pictures and send this in to get a new one, but it was interesting that immediately this sheared off. One thing that was an advantage to the Stanley was that because it had a screw-on lid, it didn't pop off when it fell on its side. The other two, because they're not screw-on lids, they did pop off. But you can see there's definitely some damage on the bottom of the Stanley, and with that handle just immediately coming off, definitely, I would say, did not hold up as well as we thought during the drop test. Yeti was the heaviest one, and it definitely showed in the drop test. Its handle is intact. There's really not a lot of denting at the bottom of it, so really happy with how Yeti did, but again, it is the heaviest and sturdiest one, so no real surprises there. The lid flew off, but that was about the biggest thing that happened. Outdoor Revival, which is the lightest of the three, it definitely had more damage. You can see that while the handle stayed on, it did split in half, and there was more damage on the bottom, which again, not too surprising because it is the lightest one, so we kind of expected that result. The leak test was also a test that we found some interesting results on. So for this one, we knew that no matter what, the water's going to come out the straw. We just know that. So what we're testing here is actually more, is it leak proof when the lid is on the sides, and is it leak proof at the hole of the straw? We tried Stanley. Stanley has kind of a unique design in that it has a spot for the straw, but this also turns and there's a hole for sipping. We found that in terms of our leak test, the hole for sipping actually did let quite a lot of water through, even with the straw. It seemed to leak the most of the three, which was a little disappointing to us. The Yeti, I mean, it was solid when it was below the hole, and as you'd expect, because there's no seal here, it definitely leaked when it was near the straw hole. So no surprises on the Yeti lid. I'd be curious as to how the mag slider would do, but we didn't test that for this test. Outdoor Revival actually did the best. It had the most unique design on top. It has the kind of similar to the mag slider of the Yeti, so slider for sipping, and then it has more rubber around the straw hole. And we found that this one really didn't leak at all. It does leak through the straw, obviously, but otherwise this was a very solid lid that did not have a lot of leakage, whichever way we turned it. So overall, all three of these did really well. If you're looking at weight, if you're looking at price, if you're looking at leakage or sturdiness from dropping, those are all factors to consider, but in the end, it's your decision, and we just hope that these little tests that we do help you decide which one works the best for you. If you have any more questions, comments, concerns, you can contact us at north40.com or visit us at any one of our store locations.